It was the day of preparation for Passover. According to religious law, all bodies had to be removed before sundown. Joseph of Arimathea, a rich landowner and a secret disciple of Jesus, asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Pilate gave him permission, and Joseph laid the body of Jesus in a family tomb. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. So, because of the Jewish day of preparation, since the tomb was close at hand, they laid Jesus there. John 19:41 and 42. While the followers of Jesus mourned, the religious establishment in Jerusalem had an entirely different frame of mind. They thought that they had finally rid themselves of Jesus. They had manipulated the Roman leadership in order to obtain a death sentence, and now they would leave nothing to chance. They approached Pilate to demand security at the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. Sir, we remember how that impostor said while he was still alive, "After 3 days I will rise." Therefore, order the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples go and steal him away and tell the people he has risen from the dead, and the last fraud will be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, "You have a guard of soldiers. Go make it as secure as you can." So they went and made the tomb secure by sealing the stone and setting a guard. Matthew 27:63 through 66. According to the Gospels, there were a couple of levels of security at the tomb. The first was a huge rolling stone that blocked the entrance. Here you can see an authentic 1st century tomb in Jerusalem where the stone rolled on a track cut into the rock. These stones were very heavy and needed several people to manage them. The next level of security at the tomb involved guards. The Gospels state that Pilate authorized a watch to be placed at the tomb, most likely a contingent of Roman guards, although some have argued that Pilate simply allowed the Jewish authorities to use their own temple guards. Either way, the Gospels tell us that guards were placed at the tomb for the sole purpose of making sure that nobody tampered with the body. So, Joseph of Arimathea had control over the body of Jesus. Not only was he a follower of Jesus, but he was also a wealthy and powerful member of the Sanhedrin, with connections in the Roman machine. The chief priests smelled a rat, and they would do anything to crush a plot to steal the body. In the 1st century Jewish context, the task of preparing a body for burial fell to family and friends. Joseph of Arimathea was a friend. Although a prominent member of the Jewish Sanhedrin, he had not voted for the conviction of Jesus. He was also a wealthy landowner. Perhaps it was his great wealth that gave him access to Pilate. After these things, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly for fear of the Jews, asked Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus, and Pilate gave him permission. So he came and took away his body. Nicodemus also, who earlier had come to Jesus by night, came bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds in weight. So they took the body of Jesus and bound it in linen cloths with the spices, as is the burial custom of the Jews. John 19:38 through 40. John recorded that Nicodemus was also there. If you recall, he was a Pharisee and ruler of the Judeans, who sought out Jesus one night in Jerusalem a couple of years earlier. Like Joseph of Arimathea, he too was a secret follower of Jesus within the formal religious structure. It was to Nicodemus that Jesus spoke the verse in John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." Perhaps Nicodemus was now beginning to understand the meaning of this teaching. It's interesting to me that these two men here mentioned as helping prepare Jesus' body for burial, Joseph and Nicodemus, were both part of the so-called religious establishment, the very religious establishment that Jesus spoke out against when he was alive. Jesus had obviously made quite an impact on these two men. They were willing to risk the wrath of their peers on the very day that their peers had manipulated the system in order to put Jesus to death. The family tomb of Joseph of Arimathea probably looked like this one. A few examples of first-century tombs like this here in a local Jerusalem park can be found in the area. Now, the tomb described in the Gospels was a single-chamber, rock-hewn tomb with a bench carved into the wall. The body would be placed onto the bench for preparations with oils, spices, and linens. So what was this very long and horrific day like for the people who loved and followed Jesus? This man who promised victory appeared defeated. He had been tried, tortured, and executed. Jesus of Nazareth was dead. His body was prepared for burial and laid in a sealed and guarded tomb. On these historical facts, there is very little disagreement, even among the most skeptical opponents of the Bible. Where was the hopeful ending? The disciples thought Jesus could be the Messiah. Now he was lying lifeless in a tomb, and they were scattered, hiding, and heartbroken. But the story doesn't end here. And what happened next would change everything.